Happy to be here. What you're asking there is really interesting, and it goes really deep from a technical standpoint. But I think we can simplify it down. A lot of people hear and understand the term mining as it relates to cryptocurrencies. So obviously, Bitcoin is the largest and biggest brand cryptocurrency in the world, and I think most people have a general idea that there are a lot of computer banks and really heavy technical lifts to solve the complex problems that allow you to mine Bitcoin. Well, the same thing happened on Ethereum for the first 7 years of its existence. It also operated with mining these massive computer banks that would suck down tons of energy. The way that a transaction would get solved and new ether would get issued is a lot of computers all racing to solve a complex program called a hash. The whatever miner, whatever computer system, whoever owned it, solved that hash would be able to put a transaction onto the blockchain. That's how new Bitcoin gets created on the Bitcoin network. It's how new Ether gets created on the Ethereum network. And that's the way that Ethereum operated for its first 7 years. There's a lot of environmental impact that goes on with mining. The amount of energy that gets sucked down to mine Bitcoin, to mine Ether, has a huge drain on the environment. And for that reason, it's one of the things that has held back crypto adoption because a lot of countries, a lot of institutions, large holders of money, they will not invest in things that are not in this day and age pro environment. And so the Ethereum Foundation, the group of developers that control and or not control, nobody controls it, but they work together to ensure the future of Ethereum. They all decided that they needed to move to a more environmental friendly mechanism to put transactions onto the blockchain. So the old method is called proof of work, meaning the computer systems solving those complex, incredibly complex math problems that only computers can do, and it was a race. Now on Ethereum, they've moved to what is called proof of stake. And what proof of stake is where holders of Ether put up a certain amount, 32 ETH, and they can start a staking node. And instead of solving a computer problem to be able to put transactions on the block, now you just have to hold a certain amount of Ether. And what happens is if you don't put blocks into the blockchain as a validator properly, the rest of the validators can all say, that's a bad actor. We're going to slash them. We're going to take away their Ether. So there's a huge penalty now if you tried to do something bad on the blockchain. What that has done is it has removed the need for all of that computer power. There is no more mining of Ether. It doesn't exist anymore. The last mining event on Ethereum happened on September 15th. Every NFT that was created prior to that date was created via mining. The CryptoPunks, the Chromie Squiggles, the Bored Apes, everything. They were all mined. On the night of September 15th, one last collection was mined. It is the lost miners of the Ether. It is our collection. After that, immediately after that, the blockchain switched to proof of stake. And from there forward, every transaction now is settled through that new mechanism. So mining ended on Ethereum forever on September 15th. Mining is what enabled Ethereum to become what it is. Ethereum, I don't believe, would have ever grown to be the second largest cryptocurrency had it not been for mining, because mining played a huge role in the decentralization of the chain and the growth of the chain. But it had to end because of the environmental impacts. And we were there that night. We created the last collection. It was planned for weeks and weeks. And we have a whole white paper that's listed. If you go on OpenSea and look at our collection, there's a white paper there. It's 20 pages long. It tells you how we did it. I won't get into all the specifics of that. People that are interested can read that. I'm very proud of our engineering team. I'm not an engineer. Very proud of them and what they achieved. Very proud of the Ethereum Foundation and what was achieved. And this collection now is when people ever look back at that moment in time and say, What happened when Ethereum changed from proof of work to proof of stake? When it got rid of mining and went to proof of stake, what was there? We're there. We're the last collection. Indisputable lost miners of the ether. Um, that's the technology behind it. And I can pause there before we could talk about some other aspects of the collections. But that's the genesis of it. So hopefully that addresses and answers for you the difference in proof of work, proof of stake, mining, why this matters, why there's this moment in time, this historical moment in time for the blockchain, and why we're a part of that.
Yeah, that's amazing. I didn't realize how deep that went. That's remarkable. Walker, you had your hand up. You got to.
Yeah, no, just that was an absolutely phenomenal piece. And those time-stamped moments of, you know, really important pieces of history in this journey through the blockchain. Really quick, guys, tweet out the space. Everybody has worked so hard to put this together and to create awesome value for each other. So make sure you tweet this out, tag some friends, and let's keep pumping this space. And I just wanted to throw in there that on the merge of Ethereum from proof of work to proof of stake, we have seen over a 90% decrease in the issuance rate of the Ethereum token supply. And I have never been more bullish, guys. Like, literally, do not sleep in this bear market. There's so many opportunities, and this transition for Ether has made it one of the most sustainable token models, in my opinion, that we've ever seen. And seeing the type of demand that we saw in the last bull market would send this thing to the freaking moon. So make sure you're stacking your ETH. Let's go.
Yeah,
Not financial advice. Just gotta throw that out there. Not financial advice. Guys, always do your own research. Words of wisdom, but just make sure you do your own research.
yeah, for
Let's
sure.
go. I love it. Walker bringing that energy. So let me see if we have any hands over here. Autism. Did you have something else for Frenchie you were going to ask?
No, I
No, that
think
was me,
Gooding had
mate.
his hand up.
Yeah, yeah. Firstly, Frenchie, yeah, there's some real collectors out there that'll be really interested in your project. There's a lot of OG Ethereum miners, sorry, ETH miners, and that gives the NFTs, your Lost Miners NFTs, a lot of value in terms of collectability. I apologize that I haven't read through your white paper. Are there any other pieces of utility that sort of come with those NFTs, or is it purely just from a collectibles point of view?
No, so I didn't get into the backstory a lot of me. I just wanted to kind of jump right in and answer the core question of why the collection was relevant from that mining aspect of it. But I come from a world of collecting. I've invested, me and my partners, and then our team over at BlockPacks. We've invested over $10 million the last 18 months in building out a platform to bring IRL, real life collectors into Web3. We've onboarded a tremendous amount of people who collect sports cards, comics, Pokemon cards, Magic the Gathering. We've been working to bring those real physical collectors into the space. When we've done activations, our activations haven't been at NFT New York. Our activations have been at the National Sports Card Collector Show. We had a huge lounge there, brought people in, introduced them to Web3, the idea of digital ownership. And really, it's born out of me being a long-term collector. I've been involved in that space for really my entire life. And it was when I saw kind of what was going on I was relatively early into things like CryptoPunks. I'm a big fan of Chromie Squiggles. I'm a big fan of these things that are truly collectible and have a true reason. I call it the collector's thesis. Why is somebody going to want to own this in 20 years? And I love utility NFTs. Please don't get me wrong. I love what people can do with the utility of NFTs. I own a lot of utility NFTs and I enjoy the utility that they bring me. However, I think we have to bifurcate and understand the difference in a utility NFT versus a true art or collectible NFT. And my goal very clearly in this space is to create NFTs that people don't want to sell because they have a collector's thesis. There's a reason you think someone else is going to want these things in 20 years. So the Lost Miners, we have done everything we can to strip away external dependencies. We have, the art. You own your art. The pixel art. We actually built this art because one of the first things we did with this collection, we didn't know for sure that we were going to be able to get these tokens, and that's all documented in the white paper. We set out, and it was our goal, but we didn't know that we were going to land it. Once we did, we said, okay, that worked great. We then put out claim passes to allow, we did a free mint of those and allowed people to come into Discord with us. And then we said, look, we have to have an artist that can bring a vision to life here. We went and got a sculptor. His name is Charles Pate. And Charles Pate's an award-winning, internationally shown sculptor. And we wanted to create this pixel art that was, because I didn't think it could be flat like the CryptoPunks. We had to be different. And we wanted to bring together this look of what we're calling abstract to high fidelity. If you look at my PFP, and there's some other miners in the audience here, the more you shrink these down, the more they begin to look almost like photographic realistic. Mine's got a pink beard, so a little bit different. But if you look at some of the ones that don't have the flashy colors, they take on almost this photorealistic appearance the more you shrink them down. But the more you blow them up, the individual pixels, there's like no two pixels in this collection that touch each other that are the same color, as far as in the skin tones and that sort of thing. And it really creates this really interesting depth. And so that was a big piece of the puzzle, finding an artist that could bring this all together so that we had this perfect combination of art, collectible, a collector's thesis. Now let's remove external dependencies and let's model this after the great collectibles and digital assets like the CryptoPunks. It has a thesis that can help it stand the test of time. My goal now and my job as part of what we're doing with BlockPacks, every real life collector that we onboard into this space, I want the miners to be one of the first projects that they discover. I want to tell them this story. I want to tell them why there's a solid thesis here, why they should want to own it. And then I want to help the collection achieve an escape velocity so that it is like the CryptoPunks and everybody knows what it is, what it stands for. And that's why we're on spaces like this today, is to tell that story. And real quick before I move on or let open back up, because I'll forget. My memory leaves me on something. But Walker made a point about the ETH issuance. It right now, since the merge, we're less than 3 months into this, or right at 3 months into this. There's already the difference in if proof of work mining had continued versus where we are now. We've essentially issued no new ETH. It's like 1,500 new ETH. You can go on ultrasound.money and you can track it. And there's a button there you can click that says simulate proof of work. And it'll show you how much ETH would have been issued had we been still under proof of work. It's 1 million ETH, 1 million. 1 million ETH that would exist in the last 90 days doesn't exist because of this move from proof of work mining to proof of stake. There's only 122 million ETH in circulation. Almost 1% of inflation eliminated in 3 months. You prorate that out over the year, 4%. It's incredible. And what it's doing is 99% reduction in environmental impact, gone. It's gone. And ETH issuance, all but gone. That is a moment that, as the blockchain continues, you cannot duplicate that. You can't duplicate that impact. You can't duplicate what it meant. Lost miners of the ether stand as the bookend for that moment. And combine that with the pixel art, combine it with a community that loves it. Go look at the sales on OpenSea. I mean, I'm biased. Okay. I'm super biased, but go look at them. Look at, we did have some people hit the floor yesterday, which is actually one of the first times we've had floor activity. So scroll back into the previous days, and like every single one of those things is getting cherry picked because collectors are buying what they want to hold. And people are jumping up 3, 4, 5x floor to get something that they want to keep. And that's a beautiful thing. And that's the collector's thesis. And that's a difference in a project that just pumps strictly off of floor volume, where it's really just an altcoin with a JPEG on it. And so I'm super proud of that. I'm super proud of what our collectors are doing. They're coming into the space. They're coming in with a different mindset. They're not here to pump and dump. They're here to hold. And they're here to find things that are worth holding. And I believe the Lost Miners check all those boxes.
Wow, that's amazing. And I love all the detail you added in there too. I mean, that's a remarkable number of ETH that didn't enter the system, which kept that value. That's probably what kept it from dropping all the way down to that 600 number that a lot of people expected. Um, I think Mijo, did you have your hand up first, bud? You want to ask?
Yes, sir. So Frenchie, great job, man. Great job. You're awesome at explaining like not just your project, but really like the whole space as a whole in the details. And this is little Mija over here. She's just saying hi to everybody. Say good morning.
Good
Good morning,
morning.
Dirk.
She's busy drinking my water, taking my stuff. So, what I want to go into further detail with you, Frenchie, is how did you how did you include the community in deciding the traits, the personalities, and the pretty much what makes up the collection, right? Because I know a little bit behind it. I do follow the project, but I think it's really important to say. A lot of people say, "Hey, we're community driven. We're here for the community," but it seems to me that even before the project actually launched, hit. That's my water that you just threw all over the ground. Even before the project actually launched, you guys were including the community and pretty much giving them a lot of deciding power behind what came out to be the end result, right?
Very much so. So so like I said, once we knew we had the tokens, the way the technology worked, and this is all covered in the white paper, it was very important that though that we to be the last proof of work collection, we couldn't cross over into proof of stake. So everything had to be minted on the proof of work side. So the engineers wrote technology to understand the hash rate, when the merge was going to happen. I'll spare you all of that. It's in the white paper. It's really nerdy, but it's cool. And when they deployed the collection into that, right there at the end, they minted all of the tokens and instantly staked them into the contract. So they never touched proof of stake. It was all created, not just the contract, not just the collection was deployed. All the tokens were minted and staked into the contract. So they all were created on proof of work. That was very important to us. So then once we had the tokens minted, we knew, we was like, all right, we did it. We have what we achieved that goal. Now let's move into the next phase of bring the collection to life. We actually issued just a new collection on the other side. Just we proof lost miners claim passes, and we went to a bunch of communities, educated them on what we had done. We did a pre-mint raffle, had over 25,000 people in that, rewarded our block packs OGs with the 2,000 of the supply went to them. And then we did a claim of those claim passes. Then we brought all those people that had the claim passes into Discord, and we said, okay, here's where we're thinking on the art. And we started showing them concepts. We beat on those concepts for weeks. We got literally pictures submitted of like photographs of miners, the way that the look and feel that it wanted to take on. One night, really late, it was about 1 o'clock in the morning. One of our Discord members, totally just a member of the community. I have no idea if he's in here today. His name is Patches. He submitted a picture, and that picture was of this miner. It was kind of it was in black and white, and this guy just really took on this. Just you could just tell this guy had been working in a mine all day. It was a great picture, and so we sent that over to Charles and said, Charles, this picture, can we bring this one to life? And within a day, Charles had that core brought to life. And then we started working on the attributes. We had so many people that were literally just, they weren't artists per se, but they were pulling out pixel tools and they were drawing, sketching their ideas for different attributes. We have this one-on-one in the collection. It's called the Soul Miner. It's an incredibly popular one of the one-on-ones. It actually sold at auction for 5 ETH right after the mint. And then the gentleman that bought it actually had a personal issue, and then he ended up having to sell it. But the Soul Miner was born out of this one guy. His Discord is Legend, and he was so active in bringing together just different things, and he came up with this Soul Miner idea. It wouldn't exist if it weren't for him. And then to polish it all off, when we finished all of that work, one of the things that we did that was so different, I had the team write a token rater, and we ran the algorithm to generate 50,000 miners, and we put them all into this, and then using like a hot or not Tinder swipe style, thumb up, thumb down, we let the entire community vote for days on miners that they liked versus miners that they didn't like. We had over an 80% overall approval rating on just the ones straight out of the system. So if we would have just deployed the collection without doing that, it should have hit around 80% people were happy with them, because that's what the ratings were. But because we were able to do that and collect, I think it was close to 400,000 votes, we took those 400,000 votes and we pulled the top 10,000 miners from a vote perspective, and we curated those as the final collection. And we made some adjustments for some things we knew we wanted to break along certain rarity lines. But overall, the 10,000 that made it in, they were the 10,000 highest voted by the community. And we started with an 80% approval rating anyway. So it's not subjective that I say this art will resonate or has resonated. It objectively has been voted on. It has resonated. And if you like pixel art, I mean, just go scroll the collection, and I think you'll really vibe with it because everybody else has vibed with it. And we have, again, objective data that says that. So that's how we brought the community into that development process.
That's amazing.
Well, Frenchie, I guess we could spend the whole space just talking about your project, as well as with the previous project, Psycho Case. I know that we can have follow-up spaces after this, but it's been really interesting to see the development of your project as well as, the growth. So I suppose, real quick question, hopefully you can answer in 10 seconds.
I'll try.
Zero royalties, why? And I guess what's next?
So I wrote a thread on royalties. No way I can do that in 10 seconds. But I believe that royalties create an external dependency on a collection because it creates a issue in the future where you're going to have some people that pay it and some people that don't. And that's going to cause fissures in your community. People are going to look at the people that are honoring the royalties are going to be pissed off at the people that don't pay them. When you're a utility NFT, you can punish that. You can say, look, if you don't pay our royalty, you can't come to Ape Fest. You can't come to our IRL activation. If you're truly a no dependency collection, there's really no way you can do that. And I believe that that would create an external dependency, and it was one that we felt we had to remove. At BlockPacks, we do have a holdback. We're not going to touch those things for anywhere in the foreseeable future. You can go read in the white paper what we have as a holdback. They're all tagged as dev claims. People will be able to see when the time comes years down the road, and we maybe move and monetize some of those in the future, kind of following the Larva Labs model on what they did with the CryptoPunks. But I have no plans at all to move any of those. And really what this is for us is this is our hallmark collection. It's our crown jewel. And it's one that we want to see rise and really kind of prove that we can create something collectible in this space. And then as we create new collectibles that maybe don't have quite the same aura about them that the Lost Miners do, because again, this is damn near impossible to replicate. It just becomes a proof point for us overall at BlockPacks. And it's just one more reason that people will come and engage in our community.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Frenchie. I appreciate you being here. It's been very interesting learning a little bit more about Ethereum. Back to Miho. I do know that we are going to do the news flash with CryptoSum before we go to Shwiz, and Meg is going to do Q&A with Shwiz. So I guess any last things you want to share with us before we move on to the quick break?
Yeah, like if people have questions or anything, where can they reach out to you? Where can they get in touch with your community? Anything like that?
So we're super easy to find. We're in everything we do with the miners. We have a gated channel and non-gated channels in the BlockPacks Discord. So discord.gg/BlockPacks, BLOKPAX, and maybe Caroline or someone from my team can pin that up for us. But we're super active in there. We have a whole team of folks. Like I said, we're 20 deep on the team side, and just a really vibrant and active community that'll be more than happy to help answer any questions you might have. You can just scroll down and see there's a bunch of miners here in the space, and we're easy to find.